Welcome to Insights into a Soul, the podcast that no one asked for. This is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. So grab a cup of coffee and relax, and join me as we gain insights into a soul. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Insights into a Soul, the podcast that no one asked for. Exciting episode. They're all going to be exciting. Let's just get that out of the way. First episode that we're bringing a guest in. Today, I've got Jeff with us.
What's up?
Jeff is one of my oldest friends. Known each other for what, 8
years?
8 years now.
8 years.
8 freaking years.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
8 depressing, long, painful... Sorry, what were we talking about?
So, last episode, those of you that listened, I wrote my eulogy.
That was
very
weird.
Morbid. Yeah, it was weird to write. I'll tell you that much. It's odd writing your own eulogy. You should try it.
It was weird listening to you read off your own eulogy.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe we should print a copy of this to actually read as your actual eulogy, and then to laugh at with how wrong everything is in it.
That's depressing.
No.
That's even more depressing. But no, last episode we talked, I say we, it was me, and I find myself doing that a lot on this podcast. I refer to it as we because I'm so used to podcasting with people, with a group of people, and it's just me most of the time.
Well, a podcast, I would say, is kind of that we mentality.
The we?
Because you are conversing, essentially. Maybe you're talking, you're doing the podcast yourself, but you are talking to the audience.
Sure.
And it does kind of open up a dialogue, whether it's, just you or an internal dialogue with the listener, that they have to kind of, you said you were an introspective person on your first episode, and that's what this whole goal of the podcast is. A lot of people, I think, do introspectively talk to themselves about it while you're going into it. Either that or I'm just weird and I just talk to myself all the time. So
No, it's like I found even when writing all of the stuff for the podcast, I just naturally wrote we. Like, on this podcast, we will do this, and we will do this. So I guess, I think if I look at it that way, that we, as a collective, me with the audience, we are going to do this together. We're going on this journey. I like that. I feel better now about writing we all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't feel as weird having to go back and always correct it to I. Because certain statements just don't come across as impactful to me as I am doing this or I this. So,
well, talk about derailing a conversation right off the bat.
That's the way the podcasts go. This episode, though, is focused around friends. So, I think I'm probably going to title someone like A Friendly Soul. I want all these podcasts where guests come on to kind of have a soul reference. So, like a friendly soul, a creative soul, a hurting soul, a failed soul.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Nope.
I hate that game. But last episode, we talked about how, everything I was going through and just how my friends really supported me and surrounded me. And Jeff is one of those friends that was there for me in a major way through all the rough stuff. Because, again, you're one of those friends that we've known each other for so long, and you're one of those friends that everybody needs like this, that can be very honest with you about things. And, you grieve with the person, but there's times when you kind of slap the person and say, okay, look, you gotta, like, move on or focus this way or just, like, call me out on my...
Yeah, stop being such a sad sack, buck up, and let's go do something.
Exactly. And he took me to Topgolf.
That's right.
And it was glorious. We had brunch and golfed.
That was a great, 3 hours of Topgolf.
It was so much fun, just relaxing. And
I was so sore the next day.
Yeah, we hit a lot of balls.
Oh, man, we swung on a lot of balls that day.
A lot of balls.
Lots of
So,
swinging.
Not sure if this podcast is going to get the explicit tag yet, but I feel as it goes on, it might.
Oh, are we not supposed to swear? Is this supposed to not be?
No, I want it to be real. I don't want people to feel like they have to be something different.
Good.
When they come on this podcast.
Good.
It's real.
All out.
It's real life.
Yeah, we're just letting it all out.
It's terrible. My mom, I think, listens to this podcast, so this will be weird.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Torrance mom.
I have great friends. Trust me, their hearts are in the right place. Friends. Friendship. I mean, what are you even talking about?
Okay, so I feel like you almost need to go back and look at this almost like an origin story. The origin story of Jeff and Torrin. And it goes back to, man, those headphones are feedbacking a little touch. Just a touch. I can still hear it.
All right, it's completely cut off.
All right, cool.
Fixed.
So Torrin and I first met back at the church that he used to work at, that I actually knew the pastor. and happened to play flag football with him like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so I just started showing up and volunteering and working with Torin, and it ended up being one of those, like, hey, we get along really well and we work really well together, to the point for like 6 straight months I was volunteering and just showing up every couple of days. I was there every weekend. I was there even for the whole establishing of the second location, helped you set up TVs and stuff like that, helped you wire things, did all that crazy stuff. And for me, that was a really rough time in my life because I was unemployed for like 9 months at the time. I had no job, no money, no income, nothing. I was like scavenging for quarters in the sofa cushions to buy myself a burger. Like it got really bad.
I've been there. I know how you feel.
Yeah, and we just connected really well. And then I was kind of forced into the friendship with you because, like, okay, at the time, we're volunteering, we're doing the video production stuff at the church, but you borrowed my copy of Man of Steel and kept it for 9 months.
It was such a good movie.
9 months, this man does not return my movie. I, like, reached out every couple of weeks, like, hey, am I actually going to get my movie this weekend?
No.
Yeah, I might bring it. Like, come on, dude! But no, now it's, you know... After that, we just developed a real strong bond, I think, about what we both are passionate about. We love movies, we love to shoot and edit, and we love to play video games.
We love anime.
You a little more than me.
You're pretty passionate about Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So you've got your animes that you love. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we share a lot of common interests.
But it's been really interesting because as those interests have grown and developed and as we've come closer and closer, we've worked together even more. And we've gotten even closer to the point where even, so we work at the same company now, and people who are new into the environment have told us on numerous occasions, like, all right, working with you guys is weird and intimidating because one of us will just look and we just nod, and it's like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And then we just start working. We're not even talking. We're not communicating.
There's a lot of non-verbals
going
on.
It's like, yeah, I don't like the way that this looks. Got it. Not even saying what the reason is that I don't like what it looks.
Yeah. Or, like, we'll be doing photo shoots or something, and I'll be like, hey, Jeff. And you're like, got it. You just know it's, oh, I need the light adjusted a certain way, or, oh, I needed this, you know, lens or whatever. It's really funny. It's funny because I actually didn't want to meet you when I first met you, because working at a church especially, everybody has a friend that does video. And so I remember coming, hey, I got this, you know, person I want you to meet. I've known them for a long time. They do video. I'm like, okay, I'm sure they do. Everybody does video.
And it was the pastor who introduced us. He just dragged us over and like, Torrin, meet Jeff. Jeff, meet Torrin. Torrin?
That was it. He just walked away. But no, it turned out to be, you know, a great friendship that 8 years later and 6 years almost of working together.
Yeah. We're at 5.5 right now.
Yeah.
6 will be in June.
It's coming up on 6 years. But I think it's funny because, like, we've worked together for so long. We were friends before that. And I think we've definitely become better friends since we've worked together. And it's like one of those things, too, where so you got hired where we are because a mutual friend of ours, there was a position open. He didn't want the position, so
That's right.
Offered it to you. You went, got hired. 6 months later or so, it was 6 months actually, because you're 6 months further than I am. 6 months later, career changed, some stuff happened, and I was out of work, and they were hiring, and you were like, hey, I've got a friend. And so I came in, and this is funny, because at this point, I was done with video. Like, I didn't really want anything to do with it. So I come in, I sit there, and I'm talking to, you know, the guy who ran the department and everybody.
He was the chief brand officer at the company.
Yeah, so, like, you know, main guy in charge of marketing and everything. And, spoiler, that's what we do. But I remember sitting there, and he was just talking, because it's very casual. It's a very casual conversation. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of done with video and this and that. Like, I don't know what's next for me. And he's like, at the end, you know, after like 20 minutes or so, I was like, oh, it doesn't sound like you really want a job. And I was like, I didn't know this was a job interview. You said, come in and let's talk.
This man walks into a job interview not knowing it's a job interview.
I didn't know it was a job interview. And so it sounded great. It was my dream job. Get to travel, get to do what I enjoy, get to work with a great team. The culture and the atmosphere was great. And I was like, well, let me think about it. And so I called my wife, who was no longer my wife. No! Oh, gosh. Last episode. Go ahead and cue that up. But no, I called her, and I was like, hey, yeah, I just got offered a job. And she goes, well, did you take it? I was like, well, I was going to talk to you first. And she's like, why didn't you take it? Like, this is everything you've been wanting to do. You want to travel. You want to, be creative and stuff. And so I was like, all right. So I called him and started 2 weeks later, and you were there. And then after a couple of years, you left for a year, and then you came. Look, we'll get into this on another episode.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff that happened during that year where you left, and then you came back.
That's going to be a fun episode.
That'll be a fun episode. It'll be a depressing episode.
Yeah.
But fun. But we're real on this podcast. That's the
no.
key, is that we're real.
I think,
Yeah.
so we wanted to talk about friendship in this one, and I think a lot of the stuff that you have to talk about friendship is kind of like those pitfalls and the highlights.
Yep.
And I think we've had mostly highlights, but we've been together for each other through those pitfalls.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's one of those, sometimes being a friend can be super stressful and super draining on somebody.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying I'm miserable to be a friend with.
Wow. Oh, I thought you were saying you're miserable being my friend. Like all these pitfalls. Ugh.
I'm going to twist it around on you. No, but we've been together, and we've helped each other through some of those tough things. I mean, I have a sick wife at home, and, no matter what I'm going through, I've had to cancel plans last minute, even with Torrin, with, having to leave things on that, I don't know if I can make it. I'll try, but it hasn't impacted our friendship at all. And, excuse me, I'm burping. Can we cut that from the podcast, please?
Nah. Let it roll. It's
but
all
then,
real.
at the same time, when Torrin's going through his hardships, you've got to be there for people. But I think some people think of friendship in a different way as well, where people try to be friends with people who are toxic, who can drag you down too much. And I think that's what's kind of been put on me to I feel like saying this, is the fact that, be careful about the friendships that you do keep, because some of them are toxic friendships that will drag you down, where there's not a mutual build-up between people. They say you're only as good as the company that you keep. I'm sorry, Torrin, I'm not that great, but you keep me company, so hey, what's that say about you?
Oh, gosh.
But I think that's what I'm trying to say, is the fact that, you're a great friend. You've always been there for me, and I'll always be there for you, because we do carry each other's burdens, and we go through this life together. We're not married, although we are work husbands. But we go through this whole walk together, and I think that's the whole point of this, is the fact that, no matter what we're going through, try and be there for the people around you, for the people that you care for, and the people that you love.
I think the thing, too, that separates it out, like I'll say with our friendship, is the way, like I can speak to you, is in this friendship, we're both very honest with each other. We're very real. And I think that's the thing, is like, you get into a relationship with a toxic person, they're toxic because usually they're to themselves. It's for them. It's about them. And they become draining on a person. Whereas I know in our friendship, both been very real, very honest. It's never, what can I get out of the other person? It's, that give and take of, like you said, being there for the other person, supporting them in the good times. And it's like, a good friendship isn't just looking for someone that you can always hang out with and party with and have good times. Like,
Yeah.
that's fun. Those are fun friends, and they might not be your real friends. They're,
Those
partners
tend
in
to be the
crime.
ones who fall away the quickest
Yes,
when the hardship
yes.
comes.
But like I will say with us, I mean, we have that connection where we can have a good time. We can have fun together. Had some great times and some great events. We make the best of situations that we're in. Even if it's a miserable situation, we make the best of it. But then also, again, there's that realness to it. There's that, you being able to talk to me about things that are bothering you personally. It's that just kind of a shoulder to lean on. And sometimes it's just listening. Not even for advice, because sometimes you just need to talk to someone and you don't need advice. You don't want advice. But then also knowing that there are those times when you can give your advice.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that you've done. Like, you've been there to listen, especially through everything that I've been going through. And then you'll also know when a good time is, well, hey, here's my advice.
Yeah.
And it's respectful. It's, but again, we built that trust where I can take your advice and I know that it's not, you have my best interest in mind.
Yeah.
It's not just for whatever selfish reasons. So I think that's another key to that, is those friendships, you have that give and the take. It's, you know, the good with the bad. You know, and there's been times where we don't agree on things. You know, we disagree on some things. I can count on one hand, though, I think, how many times we've had, like, an actual, like, really disagree.
I don't think we've had, like, an argument
or
anything.
Not an argument, just, like, where we don't see eye to eye on something. We're
Yeah.
kind of like, all right, well, fine, it's whatever, you know.
Yeah, you think that, I'll think
Yeah,
this.
it's like, okay.
And you know what? Opinions are like assholes.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's a really strong friendship there is when you can do that, you know. It's, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing. And like you said, just people that meet us too, it's like, they're like, how long have you guys known each other? Because it's just that really strange bond that we have.
Yeah, it's a very deep connection. That, you know, the brains start to work the same way.
Yeah.
We start to see things the same way. We look at things and can pretty much tell what the other person is thinking when we're looking at it. And I'm just gonna say, like, I'm very blessed to have you as that type of friend, because I think a lot of people don't have that. I think a lot of people, even in their relationships, their marriages, and even with their siblings or their parents or anything, don't have anybody like that they can look to and know, you know, this person not only understands me, but also has my back.
It's funny you say that, because when I was doing therapy, my therapist asked me a question, because, you know, like I said on the last podcast, going through all these hardships and this challenge, this time, I've had a lot of friends that I can lean on, and, you know, you being the top of the friends, I'm able to talk to you about literally anything and everything, and there's that trust and that confidence. And I told my therapist that, and they're like, you tell your friend everything, like they know everything, like kind of a sarcastic remark. I'm like, I sat there for a second, I was like, yeah, actually, yeah, I can talk to my best friend about anything. Like,
Yeah.
he knows what's going on and what I'm thinking, and like there's no like apprehension. Like, it's just comfortable for me to bring up topics and tell you things, like even the dark things. I don't know, it sounds weird, but you know what I mean, like the
Right.
not the dark secrets, like, oh, let me tell you a secret.
Yeah,
but just like the things that like I wouldn't just tell anybody.
Yeah, you don't tell everybody that you like
Yeah.
electrified nipple clamps.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, but now the world knows. It's
Now
on the podcast.
everybody
Now
knows.
everybody knows. Thanks
all
a lot,
7
Jeff.
people who are listening,
Oh, 7.
including your mother.
Sorry, Mom.
We are very sorry.
I'm so sorry. But no, so I think that's the thing. It's like, you know, do an evaluation of your friends.
Yeah.
You know, I challenge you to do that, listener, because I think it's important, because I have some other friends, too, that they have relationships with people, and they have these friendships, and that's another nice thing, too, the outside perspective. I've been able to say to them, because they're people that trust me, and so I can say to them, hey, I see this person that you're friends with, and I see these things that they're doing, and be careful, because this is where I feel like it's going to go.
Right.
You know, I've got that kind of intuition into people, and I've made that call with one of my close friends lately. I'm like, hey, I don't know for certain, but this is what I feel, because we built that trust, and they trust me. And sure enough, like, I was spot on about a couple different people.
Yeah.
And so it's like, thank you so much for just kind of being there for me, and like that extra perspective, because it helped them to be a little bit more cautious. They didn't, I don't want to say rush into things, but they didn't put themselves as much into that friendship or that relationship, so negative things didn't happen.
Right.
You know, and we were actually, I was talking about that last night with that friend of mine, because we were talking about healing and growth and development, and I kind of jokingly was like, I don't think you'd be as far along if you weren't friends with me. And kind of joking with them, we stopped and thought about it for a minute, and they were like, yeah, actually, you're kind of right. Like,
Yeah.
Because I've been there to say certain things, something like that, like, hey, watch out for this person, or I don't know if these motives are right. They, I think, would have gotten to where they are, but it probably would have taken them a lot longer and maybe experienced more hurt in that meantime. So that's the beauty of having friends. So do that inventory of friends of yours, you know, look at them and say, are they a true friend? Can they be that type of friend, like a Jeff, that you can be completely honest with, and that knows when to be honest with you.
Right.
That knows when to check you on things, and because they've got your best interest in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with Jeff and I, is that, like, I mean, even recently, like, you know, you're going through some stuff, and the other day at lunch, I was just like, hey, these are my thoughts on that, and, you know, you thought about it, and you're like, you know, I respect your opinion on it, and just me being able to bring up concerns that I have, and whether or not those concerns are valid.
Absolutely.
You know, you're able to say, well, you know, thanks for your concern, but...
And I'll clarify that. I'll clarify that, because I don't want to be a veiled person.
Okay.
Wife and I were talking about, you know, wanting to have kids in the near future. And like I said earlier, my wife has been sick for a long time. We've been dealing with chronic Lyme disease and chronic fatigue and digestive issues and a whole litany of things that has been beating us down for the last 5 years, to the point where I'm actually living at my mother-in-law's house right now because we had to sell our house to stay even with medical bills and all the expenses that have been piling up. And Torin, just trying to be that good friend, was saying, hey, look, is it the right time? Is it the right move for you to try and start having kids right now? Think about it, evaluate it, look at the situation. And I'll tell you, if it was anybody else other than Torin telling me that, maybe one or two other people, I probably would have shut them down and been like, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. Get out of my business. This is what I want to do. And my wife and I actually sat down and talked about it the other day, and we had a good long conversation about it. And we kind of decided that there's some things that we need to fall into place first. Once those happen, then we're going to start trying. But that was one of those things that I wouldn't have truly sat back and evaluated. Ooh, I'm slapping your chair. Because we're practically sitting in each other's laps right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have sat back and evaluated the situation had Torin not actually said, hey, look, do you think it's really the right move right now? Do you think this is the correct course of action to take? And so for that, it was good insight that, like I said, if anybody else had said it, I would have told them to screw themselves and, you know, get out of my business. Yeah. But because it was you, and because I know you were approaching it not from any sort of self-interest, from anything other than looking out for me and my best interest, I wouldn't have received it.
Yeah. Because I think that's the other thing, too, is, like, you know, a good friend, a true friend, when they're rooting for you. Like, no matter what's going on, you know, I'm always going to be rooting for you. Yeah. Like, you want to start a family, I'm always going to be supportive of what you want to do, because that's your dream, that's your goal. And I think, you know, again, evaluating your friends, like, make sure, like, your friends are rooting for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, your friends are going to speak to you and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, if they know it's going to do something. Like, if you're just not seeing things. And that wasn't the case in this one, but it was just that. Like, they've always got your back. Like, you've always got my back, I know. If I have something that's genuine in my heart that I want to do that's not going to cause me harm, you're always going to support me in it and help me with it. Like the podcast, you know, you supported me and you're here tonight recording.
Yeah.
Like you, with wanting to start a family. It's like, my God, I want you to have that, to experience that, because I know it's big on your heart. But it's just making sure that, like, you know, again, I'm there to support you, but also they're just like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And it's not me saying don't do it, because that's your decision.
Right.
But it's just me being there to say, because I love you, you know, make sure you think about this, this, and this. And then, you know, it kind of helps you keep perspective.
Yeah. And it was really helpful because, like I said, wife and I did actually sit down and chat about it. And so very excited for the future.
I'm scared for your kids, actually.
Yeah, I am too.
Because I'm a good friend,
the world does not need another Jeff running around. My God, that's
or maybe it does. Maybe it does.
It does.
Maybe it needs more good friends.
Maybe it does. Actually, I just want to throw out one more thing, and this is going along that topic of good friends. You know, sometimes you have to think, like we've talked a lot about what a friend looks like. You know, somebody who's got your back and somebody who's always there for you. But I have a couple of friends, and maybe you have some of these too. I am terrible. I am absolutely terrible at keeping up with people. I hate social media. I don't like getting on long phone calls. So I have a lot of friends who I've known for, 20 years or something like that. I have 3 specific people that I'm thinking of. And I don't even talk to them every 6 months sometimes. Like, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year in between us hanging out or talking. But the thing is, those are people who, no matter what the situation is, the same thing that we were saying about us is always there for us, always there for you. Yep. And sometimes, I'm the type of person who doesn't need a huge circle of friends. I don't need a lot of people in my life to try and talk to me, to try and pour into me. But it's looking at those ones who are the valuable ones, who truly have your best interest at heart, in mind, and who want to pour into you to see you develop into the person that you're supposed to be, the best version of you that you can be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point of this entire episode of this podcast is basically be careful, be specific and intentional about your friendships.
Yep.
Because those are the ones who will build you up. And, without being a Downey?
Downey, the softener?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Robert Downey?
Without being a downer, sometimes you have to cut certain people out of your life who drag you down. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I think that's, great advice, which it's on social media. I try to keep certain things, from public, just because not everybody, I'm not the type of person where everybody needs to know all of my business.
Right.
So like when I started going through the situation with my, my wife and everything, I will say true friends show themselves in times of crisis and times of hurt.
Absolutely.
So one thing that this whole situation has really shown me is who my true friends are, or who the friends are that really deeply care about me. Like, there's certain people that we work with that have just reached out and just loved me and been there for me. Hopefully we'll get some more of them on the podcast. But then also, like you talk about, these friends that you had for 20 years or so, when I was going through something, because I would just put stuff on social media, just like kind of vague about like hurt and stuff like that. And they would reach out to me.
Yeah.
And people I haven't heard from in years. But like we were really good friends in college and stuff. And they would just reach out to me like, hey man, I don't fully know what you're going through, but obviously you're going through something. And like, I'm here for you. Like, if you need anything, let me know. I have these are guys I went to college with and I worked with back in the day. There's friends of mine that live in Utah that reached out to me and they're like, hey man, if you need to get away, I've got a guest bedroom, come out here. And that's another funny thing too, is like how many people reached out and were just like, if you need a place to stay, just to get away from the environment that you're in, because especially being in a house after separation, there's so much memory and stuff.
Yeah.
But like several people reach out and like, I've got a guest room. If you need to, come stay here anytime you want. I mean, friends in Vegas, friends in Utah, like all over the country were like, if you want to travel, come stay here. And I'm probably going to take some of you guys up on that because I want to do some traveling.
But work doesn't send you around enough? You need to travel even more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I want to go skiing.
Ooh.
See, exactly.
Ooh.
But that's the thing, is like, you really find out like those friends that are just really deeply care about you because you have that connection with them that you built. Like you said, you haven't talked to them in months, maybe even years, but they're reaching out to you and just wanting to let you know that you're loved. So, hey, that's a challenge. And I like to end on a positive note. We talked about that. I want to do that with every episode. Think about some people in your life who really, you could say, are true friends that maybe you haven't talked to in a long time. And I challenge you just to reach out to them and just send them an email or a text or an Instagram message or a Facebook message and just say, hey, just thinking about you. You're loved. And, if you need anything, I'm here for you. And just let them know, because sometimes that little message can completely change a person's life. Not just change their day, but change their life, just to know that someone is thinking about them.
You never know what they're going through, and it could be the exact thing that they need to hear at that moment. So if they're, like Torrin said, if there's somebody whose name comes to mind as we're saying this, just go ahead and drop them a DM real quick. Send them a message. Shoot them something. Let them know that you're thinking about them. Because you never know. You never know.
Never know. So, hey, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Jeff, thanks for coming on the podcast. I'm sure we'll have you on more episodes because we got a lot to talk about. Lots of, and that's what I love about this, is that the whole Insights into a Soul concept is there's so many different aspects to a person. Like what was it, Shrek? Like they're like ogres are like onions.
Ogres are like onions.
But no, seriously, that's how people are. Is people have so many different aspects to them. Like you, I mean, we're friends. You've got the creative side. You've got all these different aspects, and want to explore those with different people, tell those stories. So thanks for joining me, everybody that's listening. Thanks for tuning in. The support has been amazing on social media, people commenting, sending me messages, wanting to be on the podcast, which is awesome. But then also just the, hey, this is awesome, can't wait to hear more from you. Really exciting, looking forward to things that are coming. Until next time, see you guys later.
Thanks for having me.
I gotta think of a good sign-off.
Yeah.
We'll work on it. If you have sign-off suggestions, send them in. insightsintoasoul@gmail.com. See you guys next time! Thanks for joining us on this episode of Insights into a Soul. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe, and to share it with your friends. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Insights into a Soul, on Instagram, @TorrinH, and if you have suggestions for future episodes or topics, or if you'd like to be on the podcast, contact us, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com.